We're talking about how infants develop taste preferences. It's easy for parents to rely on what they know their child will eat, but too often those choices are ultra processed foods and drinks. Pediatrician and parenting expert Dr. Isha Mannering is joining us again, and thank you so much for being here.
I'm so happy to be here. This is such a big topic for most of the parents I know.
Yes, and when it comes to feeding our children especially, you try to start healthy and sometimes they'll just spit it out. So help us understand the process of an infant learning to like a food. So if we give them a spoonful of peas and they hate it, why is it important to try again?
Well, we have to remember a baby's taste buds are brand new. That means they're not desensitized yet. And when they taste a new flavor, like peas, it may just be unfamiliar to them. So it's not necessarily that they're rejecting the food entirely. It's just that it's kind of a new sensation for them. And so repetition is actually the key for introducing new foods, especially vegetables. I would tell my patients that it can take 8 to 10 times of trying or offering a new food before your child may accept it. So it's definitely worth continuing to offer it and not giving up on the peas.
8 to 10 times. Wow. There's also a new study that examined hundreds of foods for infants and toddlers from the largest grocery chain. So what did they find?
Yes, so this study came out in February of this year in the peer-reviewed journal Nutrients, and they looked at 651 products in the 10 largest grocery store chains in the US. And they found that 71% of these foods that are actually marketed for toddlers and infants, 71% contained or were ultra processed and contained additives.
Yeah, thinking back to when my babies were little and all the little snacks that I would give them, like the Star Puffs and all of those things, different flavored things. And now I kind of feel bad about it. But even if a colorful product is labeled healthy or shows images of fruits and veggies, what does it mean if it's ultra processed?
Well, we are learning that healthy looking on the outside of a package does not necessarily mean that it's healthy on the inside. So, what we need to do is get in the habit of turning that package over and looking at the ingredients list. And, if it has more than 3 or 4 ingredients listed in that food product, then it's probably at least somewhat processed or not as close to the natural form. And we have to watch out for this because as that study showed that came out in February of this year, there are these foods everywhere. And so it's very much the norm to see this in the grocery store.
Yes, yes. And so why is training our kids' palates on processed foods potentially harmful down the line?
Well, kids become more used to the foods that they're given early on. So their long-term taste preferences can be influenced by the foods that we introduce them to in early childhood. And now we're finding out even more about these ultra-processed foods when they're introduced early and how they can impact our risk factors for things like cardiometabolic conditions or obesity. So there was a study in the Journal of Nutrition Reviews that came out in August of 2023 that found when kids have early exposure to ultra processed foods in their childhood or adolescence, that they are at a higher risk for some of these conditions.
So then what strategies do you recommend to parents to try to broaden their kids' diets?
Yes. So one thing is to offer vegetables early and often, and don't give up knowing that it can take multiple exposures for your child to accept it. I also just tell parents keep it simple. Kids don't need a lot of extra flavors or sweeteners because their taste buds are just easily oversensitive. So we can just kind of keep it simple, use age appropriate textures of foods like maybe mashed avocado or, plain yogurt sweetened with fruit, shredded cheese, things like that that are closer to their natural form. And then the third thing is, I don't want parents to feel a burden of guilt on this. Convenience has become a part of modern parenting reality. So we need to accept that a pouch or, processed food may come into contact with our child at some point, and that's okay. It's about the pattern, it's about the balance, and it's about trying our best to kind of keep those ultra processed foods to a minimum.
Important advice. Dr. Isha Mannering, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much.